Choi Taekyum corners Lee Yin Yu against the wall, hoping he'll give him an answer. Viewers, but doesn't dare tell him the real reason. Yin Yu and Taekyum have known each other since they were kids, even though they're the same age. Taekyum was delicate and pretty as a child. This made Yin Yu feel he had to protect him. He didn't know why Taekyum was avoiding him, until he stumbled upon Taekyum, suffering from his pheromones. His pheromones were so intense. And Taekyum could only fight them alone with no one to help. How Yin Yu hugged him, heartbroken. Taekyum cried in Yin Yu's arms, saying. From that day on, Taekyum stopped avoiding Yin Yu. The two went back to how things used to be. Yin Yu was really happy. So he always stay his side and protect Taekyum. And he realized he had fallen for Taekyum. So from that moment on, it became Yin Yu avoiding Taekyum. This went on for 5 years. Now they're both in college. Today Yin Yu got dragged to the welcome party. A junior congratulated him on finishing his military service and returning to school. But Yin Yu was distracted, constantly sneaking glances on. Because Taekyum goes to the same school. He was terrified the next person walking in would be Taekyum. But speak of the devil. When the figure he hadn't seen in 5 years appeared in his line of sight, Yin Yu instantly panicked. His tablemates were still calling out Yin Yu's name, congratulating him on his discharge. And the sound reached Taekyum's ears. As that strange yet familiar pheromone got closer and closer, Yin Yu's heart beat faster and faster. What should he do? He clearly couldn't resist Taekyum's pheromones anymore. But Yin Yu still forced himself to calm down, because he couldn't let Taekyum know. But he'd been avoiding Taekyum for 5 years. Taekyum desperately wanted an explanation. Yin Yu stood up and said to Taekyum seriously, "Let's go outside." The two walked outside together. Yin Yu pulled out a pack of cigarettes. "Mind if I smoke one?" Taekyum didn't say anything. Yin Yu lit the cigarette. Taekyum couldn't help covering his nose, because this wasn't an ordinary cigarette. It gave off a smell similar to pheromones. Even though this would displease Taekyum, to stabilize his own pheromone. Even though it had been 5 years, they didn't know what to talk about. Taekyum stepped closer to Yin Yu. "Should I ask you, or will you tell me yourself?" Yin Yu looked down, avoiding his gaze, explaining that he got sick during the college entrance exam and didn't get it, and later focused on retaking it, so he didn't contact Taekyum. Taekyum's eyes filled with sadness, because back then he was afraid of disturbing Yin Yu's studies, so he didn't dare reach out to Yin Yu. When Yin Yu got into college, he had already gone to military service, and when he got discharged, Yin Yu went to military service. So for 5 years they had no contact. Hakaya moved closer. "When you had leave from the military, did you ever think about seeing me? Are we even still friends?" Yin Yu felt guilty hearing that, but he couldn't tell the truth. Then he and Taekyum really couldn't even be friends anymore. Taekyum grabbed Yin Yu's shoulders hard. "We're at the same school now, and we've both finished military service. Promise me you'll never avoid me again." Yin Yu's feelings were complicated. He still nodded in agreement. Taekyum immediately became happy. He patted Yin Yu's head. "Let's go back." Seeing Taekyum so happy, Yin Yu couldn't feel happy. Taekyum. Yin Yu still couldn't help asking Taekyum. Taekyum turned around and said firmly, "Yeah, I really hate them." Yin Yu's hand trembled. The hand holding the cigarette was shaking. "You go ahead. I'll be right there." Taekyum nodded, telling Yin Yu not to smoke too much. Yin Yu watched Taekyum's retreating figure, his heart a mess of emotions. And he realized that ever since he fell for Taekyum, he'd been avoiding him. Who knew after 5 years he still couldn't let go? What should he do going forward? When Taekyum got back to the welcome party, he noticed everyone staring at him. As soon as he sat down somewhat, "I can't believe you know Senior Choi Taekyum." Yin Yu explained they were friends. A junior nearby frowned. "Friends? Why would he leave such strong pheromones on a friend?" Yin Yu was still in shock. Others crowded around asking about him and asking Kidoyams. Everyone knew Taekyum's pheromones were intense. Yin Yu thought to himself, "It's because of those pheromones." A classmate leaned in and asked, "Does Senior Taekyum really not have anyone?" Yin Yu stole a glance at Taekyum. "He probably doesn't." The junior beside him asked curiously. Yin Yu turned to look at him. "What's your name?" The junior looked a bit hurt. "You don't know my name, Senior. I'm Team Doyan." Yin Yu thought it was strange. Why is this junior so interested in Taekyum? Doyoung looked incredulous. He picked up 2 cups and gestured to Yin Yu. Their pheromones would still have an effect. They'd still throw all reason out the window. Then Taekyum's voice suddenly came from the side. "Why is it impossible?" Taekyum's expression seemed a bit angry. Yu felt oak. He clearly hadn't sensed Taekyun's pheromones approaching. Taekyun sat down right next to Yu, picked up a cup from the table and poured himself a drink, and downed it in one gulp. After drinking, he handed the cup to Yu. Yu hadn't reacted to the Senior, you're in business management, right? Could you pour me one too? Taekyun didn't say, and just kept drinking on his own. Yu watched him from the side. Taekyun, you're really rude. Do-hyun, I'll pour for you. Yu just picked up the bottle, when Taekyun immediately reached out and grabbed, taking the bottle to pour for Do-hyun. You're Yu's junior. Do-hyun smiled. Yeah, senior Yu takes good care of me. Yu thought to himself. What care? This is literally the first time they've met. I can lean close to you. You two get along so well. Talking about me here. Yu felt awkward. We weren't talking bad about you. They just asked if you were seeing anyone. You're not. Taekyun's expression became serious. What about you? Yu froze. Of course I'm not. Taekyun's expression relaxed. I'm not seeing anyone either. Do-hyun beside them suddenly spoke. Senior, can I ask you something? Taekyun frowned slightly at him. What do you want to know? Do-hyun smiled. So senior Yu is okay then. Could there be a tougher situation than this? There sure is. Yu felt his brain buzzing. Do-hyun was still smiling and asking, why? Senior Yu enlist. Yu didn't dare speak, silently clenching his fists. His whole body went rigid in his seat. He never thought he could hide this forever. But at least it shouldn't be exposed like this in this situation. Seeing Yu frozen, Do-hyun also looked stunned. Senior, are you okay? Do-hyun reached out to help Yu, but Taekyun swatted his hand away and pulled Yu into his arms. What are you talking about? 快从混局长到找好嫣然 looked confused 时 Yu took a deep breath and said with a forced smile. Sure, what? Did you misunderstand because of the cigarettes? Yu pulled out his cigarettes and handed them over. The cigarettes I smoke smell a lot like Pharaoh. Do-hyun took the cigarette, looking thoughtful. Then I guess I was mistaken. I'm really sorry. Taekyun held Yu. Good that you know. Taekyun looked at Do-hyun with pure hostility. Do-hyun seemed to have his own thoughts too. He stood up saying he'd go to the restroom. After Do-hyun left, Taekyun couldn't help asking Yu, are you too close? Why would he do that? Yu shrugged. I don't know. Today's the first time I've met him, but he seems really interested in you. Taekyun pointed at himself in surprise. Interested in me? Yu nodded. Taekyun's expression immediately became serious. Yu was startled. When Taekyun got angry, his pheromones became stronger. Yu's whole body was trembling. This feeling was really unbearable. Yu asked, trying to stay calm. Taekyun looked back at him. Nothing. I'm just relieved. Yu and Taekyun have been childhood friends since they were little. Yu always protected Taekyun, like a big brother. After hearing that Yu couldn't control his emotions, he couldn't help testing Taekyun. Don't overthink it. I'm just curious. Taekyun frowned. Then I wouldn't have been friends with you at all. Yu forced a calm smile. Because he knew that would be the answer. Yu made an excuse to leave and collect himself. By the time everyone finished eating and drinking, it was late at night. Several people were already drunk. One drunk guy hugged Yu, congratulating him on his discharge. Taekyun couldn't help frowning at Do-hyun beside him. He pulled the guy off Yu and tossed him to Do-hyun. You're Kim Do-hyun, right? You seem pretty sober, so you take him home. Yu stepped forward and patted Do-hyun. Thanks for doing this. I'll buy you dinner next time. After Do-hyun left with a classmate, Yu and Taekyun walked home together. Taekyun remembered they lived close to each other and suggested they share a cab home. But Yu looked troubled. He'd actually moved out of his family's place a while. Taekyun reached out and patted his head.